Yeah, g'day, Fight View 360 fans. Joel, mate, Big J, Jason Fletcher, and today we have the absolute privilege of talking to one of Australia's top 10 boxers easily, former IBF featherweight champion, former IBO super featherweight champion, Billy the Kid Dib. Billy, thanks so much for joining us here, mate.
No, thank you so much, my man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, mate, it's really good to finally get you on the channel because we've been following your career for a bit now. You've had probably one of the most successful careers in Australian boxing history. You're easily one of the best featherweights this country's ever produced. When you look back on your career, what do you think, was the, besides obviously winning the title, what do you think was the most crowning achievement of your career?
Firstly, thank you so much for your kind words. I'm truly humbled by your lovely comments. To be mentioned in the same sentence as Jeff Fennick and Johnny Famishon is an honour. But going back to your question, obviously the highlight moments of my career are definitely the wins against Zelani Morali and Jorge La Sierva for the titles that I captured. But obviously one of the proudest moments was bouncing back after I lost against Stephen Lewevno, facing Davey Brown and putting on an absolute clinic to win that fight. That was just for me it was the beginning of new. It was the beginning of something new, and I was just so happy to go out there and do what I did to Davey that day. God rest his soul, and basically cement myself as a legitimate contender and work my way back up the ratings to get another world title shot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a really good performance. I haven't seen that one, but as you said, we all do miss Davey, and God rest his soul. But more pressing matters. I noticed that after you had your hard-fought 12 rounds of Tevin Farmer, you gave it away. You went out on your shield as the true fighter that you are. What brought you back? Was it a decision that you just had to keep scratching that itch, or you feel that you weren't done?
It wasn't that, to be quite honest with you. Is that when I left the sport of boxing after the Tevin Farmer fight, I thought that people would be there to pick me up and help me find a job, help me move on to the next phase of life. But unfortunately, that wasn't there. And I was sort of left out in the lurch, not knowing which direction to take. So, I left without a plan. I had no plan. My plan was, sometime we'll fall into place. And months passed and nothing fell into place. And I was just like, you know what? I went to the gym and asked Billy Hussein if he'd be happy to take me back and put me through put me through my paces. And he goes, just come back and enjoy yourself, and we'll see what happens. Well, then I just had a fight against a guy who, was 7 wins and 15 losses. That wasn't supposed to be the case. I was supposed to be fighting a kid that was 34-3. Unfortunately, he didn't turn up to the airport and he missed his flight. So we had to find the last-minute replacement. And that's when the guy that I fought jumped in. He was supposed to fight one of the other boys on the night, and I ended up taking the other boy's opponent, and basically that set up the fight with Amir Khan. So I only left for a short space of time. I come back, and I've been going at it ever since. Unfortunately, coronavirus has really put a hinder on a lot of people's careers, and I was one of those people. Obviously, I would have loved to stay active and get more fights, but what could you do? We're in a circumstance and couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can understand that. I was in the army for 10 years as a soldier, and when you get out, and you're so used to doing one thing for a long period of time, it's hard to readjust back into normal civilian life, as they say. So I can understand that totally. And that's why a lot of guys re-enlist and go back and have another crack. So I understand that totally. Right. On more pressing matters, your upcoming fight with Jacob NG, for the, is it IBF International Lightweight and WBO Oceanic Lightweight title, is that correct? I hope that's correct.
I think it's Intercontinental, WBO Intercontinental, I think.
Yeah, WBO Intercontinental, yeah. That's going to put you back in the ratings of lightweight. Oh, that'll put you into the ratings of a lightweight. What's the motivation to take this fight? Is it just that you just want to put this young fella in it? Sorry, is it just you want to put this young fella in in his place, or have another crack at the big time?
No, it's nothing. It's nothing to do with putting him in his place. Jacob NG is a great fighter. He's got the results on the board for him, 15-0 with 11 knockouts. Regardless of his opposition, he's gone out there and done the job every single time. Mm-hmm. So you got to give him that respect.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But for me, it's an opportunity. for me, it's an opportunity to find myself in the lightweight rankings and to win a world title at lightweight. And equal the great Jeff Fennig as a 3-division world champion in Australian boxing history. That would be something amazing. I guess that's the motivation behind what I'm doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, well, to do that, you'd have to go through George, and that would be an interesting fight. That would be a great fight. All Aussie for all those titles. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. How would you rate, I just want to ask your opinion, how would you rate George's win against Lopez on the scheme of some of the biggest wins in Australian history? I just want to think what your opinion on that is.
My opinion is it was a fantastic win. Right? It was a great win. He went into the Lions Den, did the job. You definitely got to put it up there as one of the top wins in Australian boxing history. But, in saying that, we've had some amazing champions. In the fact that Lionel Rose
absolutely
went into Japan fighting Harada.
Yep.
That's got to be the greatest achievement of all time.
Yep.
Look, George was just in the right place at the right time. Teofimo, he stole them belts off Lemachenko.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't have to go around and then George did the same to him. So in a fight, in one fight, you're lucky enough to collect all the belts. But I guess the real sign of a champion is when you defend them titles. See, if George defends his championships in his next fight and he loses them, that's like a one-hit wonder. But look, let's be honest. The greatest fighter to lace up the gloves in Australian boxing history has to be Jeff Fennig. You've got to give him that credit. 3-division world champion. Should have been a 4-division world champion. Got robbed blind against Tszyu Nelson.
Yep.
So that's what I'm talking about. But in saying that, George has done something that a lot of people didn't think he could do.
No.
Lucky for him, the stars all aligned for him on that night. And Teofimo, whether he's at his best or not, George did the job and got it done. He got the win and put the belts back home. And all we can do as Australians is just be proud of him. But we just hope that he carries himself in a manner that's respectful and continues to go out there and work hard and succeed.
Yeah,
that's one thing about George. He's a hard worker. So you can't knock him for that.
No, every time you see him on a Facebook thing, he's in the gym. So yeah, and that's the hard work that, as you said, the 1%ers are the reason he got that win, because he did everything right and he didn't take his eye off the ball for a second. So you've got to give credit. Yeah. And in my opinion, I think the only person that could give him trouble would be Tank Davis. I think he could get past Haney. I don't think he could get Loma. I think Tank would be the only one that would give him trouble. That's just my opinion. Other people might think I'm crazy, but, What do you think about Loma? You reckon he could get past Loma?
I actually don't think he can get past Loma.
Fair enough.
Obviously, I'd back him because, you always back the Australian, but, I think the lightweight division is totally stacked, and I think, every fight's going to be an interesting fight, but I don't see how he, I don't see how he beats somebody like Lemachenko or even, Tank Davis. Like you said, I think he's got a good chance against Devin Haney, but Tank Davis and that, they're on another level.
Yep. Yeah, I've always said Tank will give him problems. I think Loma, all he has to do is just gut punch him and rush him from the opening bell and do exactly what Tszyu did to him. So, but yeah, fair enough. I always like hearing other people's opinions because, the more opinions you get, the more knowledge you get.
So. As I said, you can't knock the kid,
Nah,
he's done something amazing in Australian boxing history. He's put himself in the history books. That's it. That's his dream. His dream was to be world champion. He's done that. Now the next greatest thing that he could do is go out there and defend them more titles. Yeah, damn right. Hold them for many, many years to come.
That's exactly right. And that'll make him number one without a doubt.
No doubt. But as I said to you now, at the moment, he's the guy who's defeated Teofimo. Now, to solidify himself as an outstanding champion, what he needs to do now is go out there and defend them titles. That's it. That's
exactly right, yeah. A true champion is a champion that defends his titles, and not just once, multiple times. Like you said, Jeff was undefeated in 3 divisions. So...
Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing.
Exactly. So back on to one of your opponents, the Brook Imran Khan fight. Obviously, Imran Khan didn't get the win, but do you think he should take the rematch, or do you think he should go elsewhere or call it a day?
Look, in my opinion, there's nowhere else for Amir to go. the only thing that Amir can do from here on in is fight Kell Brook in a rematch, because that's the only fight that he's going to get. That's the only money fight out there, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there'd be even any interest in him fighting Conor Ben or anything like that, you know what I mean? So if I'm Amir Khan, you know, I'd do the rematch, because obviously it's going to financially
benefit him
more stable than he already is. You know what I mean? But does he win the fight? I don't think so. He's saying that inactivity cost him the fight, but I always knew Kell Brook was going to beat him. Kell Brook's got too much skill, too much ability for people like Kemmy Khan, you know what I mean? So,
and Kell's a beast.
He should just be Mate, Kell's amazing, and I feel like Kell could definitely beat a lot of the guys that are out there at the moment still. You know, his only losses are to, you know, great fighters, GGG, Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., you know, and there's no shame in losing to them guys. You know what I mean? He was in the fight. It wasn't like he wasn't in the fights. He was in them.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. So coming up, we've got another big fight in Canelo versus Dimitri Bivol. How do you think that plans out? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, look, I think the team that work around Canelo are very strategic. They know what they're doing. They pick their opponents carefully. And obviously, this is another opportunity for Canelo to go back to light heavyweight and win another world title against Bivol. So I think Canelo's team is very strategic in their planning, and I think they're going to do really well. I think Bivol would definitely give him a hard fight, but I think that Canelo would definitely win the fight. Yep. Fair enough. There's a mixed opinion there. I don't know where I sit on that one yet. I have to do some more research. So, but a lot of people saying Canelo's going to get him. A lot of people saying Bivol's too technically sound, too much of a boxer for him. But the only way to see is put him in the ring and see what happens. So, yeah. And middleweight, we've got Jamal Charlo versus Jaime Munguia. I actually think Jaime might get him. What do you think? Look, I don't know. I think the Charlo brothers are very talented. I've done some work with the Charlo brothers. I flew to their home state, Texas, and did some training with them with Ronnie Shields.
Oh, that's right. They're Texas boys.
Yeah, I don't think Jaime Munguia has got the skill set to dethrone a champion like the Charlo brothers. They're too good, mate. Jamal and his brother Jamel and Jamal are both great fighters. So I think they're going to be very, very difficult to beat.
Just back on you, when was your US career? Because I remember your US debut. I remember seeing a video about yourself, and was 50 Cent involved, and all sorts of things happened. I only glanced at it. Can you just remind me when your US debut was and how it went? Because I can't think about it off the top of my head.
My original US debut took place in 2006.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago.
I debuted on the undercard of Winky Wright versus I Cortez.
Oh yep.
Against a tough American kid. I won a complete shutout 8-round decision. I won every round on every judge's card. Then I went on to have six fights in the US. I fought on the undercard of Hopkins versus Pavlik, Del Hoya versus Mayweather. Shane Mosley versus Cotto, Shane Mosley versus Collazo, Katsides versus Casamayor. So I had a really good run, and then my second stint in America started in 2010. So I had a really good run.
Oh yeah, because mostly Australians don't do very well in the States. I mean, it's sort of like a hot and cold sort of thing, because Daniel Gill, I think he had 3 or 4 fights, and he ended up losing the lot. The first one very controversially. He won that fight against Darren Barker, but they took the belt off him. That was very disappointing. Who else didn't? Jeff Horn didn't do so flash over in the States, but then again, he was fighting Crawford. We all know what happened to Jeff Fenech. The less said about that, the better. And who else didn't do so flash in the Maloney brothers have had a hot and cold run over in the States as well. So...
look, I had a pretty decent run. You know, I in the States, I lost 2 fights in the States, both of them in world title fights. I never lost in a fight that wasn't a world championship fight. Yeah, that's true. So in my career, in my career today, I've got 46 wins and 6 losses, and 5 of my 6 losses have all been in world title fights, and 1 loss was against Simi Khan, which was in the WBC International welterweight title fight. It's crazy in itself. So I've only ever lost at the top of the food chain. I've either won or lost at the top of the food chain.
Yeah. I remember seeing that fight. I mean, Amir Khan's a good mate of yours, isn't he? You blokes are
He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I saw the documentary on you too. So yeah. Just back onto Australian matters. Now Tim Tszyu's debut was coming up against Terrell Gausha. How do you think that's going to go? Because I think Tim should take care of this bloke easily, but I've just got a bad feeling about this fight.
This is obviously been strategically planned for Tim to go over there and put on a fantastic performance against an opponent who's not bad.
Yeah.
Saying that is a former Olympian, but just not on Tim's level, I don't think. I think Tim's a level above. And obviously, this is an introduction for Tim into the US market. And, BBC and Showtime are behind it. And I think that, I think Tim's going to go over there and do the job that he has to do, introduce himself to the American market, and then set up the fight against either Charlo or Castano. So it's going to be one or the other that's going to face him. And, it's obviously going to be an uphill battle for Tim. But, Tim's managed to win every single fight that he's had. He's done very, very well. He's a talented kid, and I think that the world is his oyster.
Yeah. I don't think he'll get Charlo. I think Charlo will move up to 160. And if he gets Castano, I think it's going to be a bit of a tall order because I think Castano won that first fight personally. That's just my opinion.
I don't feel that he can beat either of them.
Yeah, no.
But I will back him.
Yeah, obviously you got to back him.
The Australian, and I don't care. I always back the Australian.
Absolutely, you got to back your own. You got to back your own countrymen. But I don't see Tim getting. I don't see him getting the Charlo fight because I think Charlo, even if he wins, I think he'll vacate and go up to 160 after his brother goes up to 168. And then, if he gets Castano, if he does get Castano, it's going to be a very, very tall order. But once again, he has to prove that in the ring like every fight. I mean, I'm one of those YouTubers, commentators, call me whatever you like, that says, well, they've got to prove it in the ring. I don't really give predictions because I've opened my mouth once or twice and I've looked like a complete fool. So I just say they have to prove it in the ring. So that's how I go these days.
Exactly.
I think that's fair.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly. People say, "What do you think about this fight?" Well, they have to prove it in the ring. It's because like Teofimo on paper should have had George no worries, and he looked terrible. So, but George proved it in the ring. So it's one of the exactly. So one of those things, mate. Appreciate you talking. Just back to you. I already know the answer to this question. I'm going to ask it anyway. What's your best win and what's your most devastating loss? Even though I'm pretty confident I know the answer to this.
Okay, I would definitely say that my best win would definitely be against Zolani Morali for the IBO Super Featherweight World Title.
IBO Super Featherweight?
It was my IBO Super Featherweight World Title. I feel like it was, it was... at the time, it was a big deal for me, so it was a massive win for me,
Hey, you're only a kid then. You're only, 22, weren't you? You're only a young fella.
Yeah, 22 years of age.
That's right. Yeah, you're only a baby.
And I think the most devastating loss that I had in my career, the one that broke my heart the most, was the one against Evgeny Gradovich when I lost my IBF Featherweight World Title.
Yeah, okay. I have to admit, mate, I got that wrong. I would have said when you won the IBF and when you lost to the Japanese gentleman... because that was a hard fight to watch. I think I've only watched it 2 or 3 times and I can't watch it.
They're all heartbreaking in themselves. Losses are always heartbreaking, but it's a learning experience. I've put that behind me and I've moved forward now. And, obviously come March 19th, hopefully I'll do the job on Jacob NG and I'll set up something else. Yeah, definitely. So if you can get past this young bloke who seems to be on a pretty good... path 15-0, and he's a tall bugger, isn't he? I mean, he's like my height. He's like 6 foot for a lightweight. He's like 6 foot tall. He's 185 centimeters.
Good lord, that's taller than I am. That's a big lightweight.
Yeah.
Do you see the body as the weakness? Because that's what I'd be doing. I'd be cracking his ribs all day.
Mate, we'll see what happens. I'm putting together a good game plan, but I won't give it away.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not privileged to that sort of information, mate. So that's all right. So. We'll just wait to see them fight on March 19th. So
for sure.
Yeah,
tune in, guys.
Yeah,
appreciate
definitely.
The support. God bless you all, and hopefully we can put on a great performance for all of you guys.
Yeah, I really can't wait to see the fight, mate. I mean, it's going to be. How is it televised? Is it on KO?
Televised, I think they're saying that it might be televised on Fox.
Nice. That way I can watch it on KO Sports. Excellent.
Legend.
Excellent. I appreciate your time, Billy. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Take care. All the best.
No.